We need a medical.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Guzdek. I'm the recording secretary of the New York State Amateur Hockey Association. Congratulations to everyone who has made it to the district championships. Some of our panelists are still getting on, but in an effort to speed the meeting up and not keep everybody waiting, we're going to get started. I'll do some introductions. Joe Baudo is the president of New York State Amateur Hockey and a district director. Mark Lamar is a district director and our tournament director. Kirk Avery is the central section president. Gary Joseph is the west section president, and Mike Shapey is the district referee in chief. With that, I will turn it over to Joe Baudo.
Good evening, everybody. As Eric says, congratulations to all of you on making it to the state tournament. You're a winner in your own right for getting this far. I just want to make one comment with regards to what's going to happen this week. All of you are aware that every building we use in this tournament has live burn. I reminded all the coaches last weekend. I'm going to remind all of you guys this weekend. Make sure you know where the camera is and the microphone is for live burn. A couple of weeks ago, we had a tournament and the bench had the F-bomb flying around at their players and everything else. So be aware of where you are and what you're saying, because that gets picked up. And then grandma and grandpa back home that are watching the game, especially if you're yelling at their kid, is going to be very upset about it. And then we'll be getting phone calls and emails and everybody else. And there is no way we can shut that down unless we turn live burn off altogether. So just want to make you guys aware of that. Think about it when you're out there and try to take a look around and see where it is. If you're not sure, ask somebody and we'll try to tell you where they are so you're aware of it. Again, congratulations to everybody. If you have questions, I will be at Northtown Center for the weekend, and we'll have people around the other two facilities to be there. So wish you all luck and have a great tournament, and congratulations to everybody right now. Thank you. Mark Lamar, you're up.
Thank you, Joe. First of all, congratulations to everybody. Hopefully we'll have a very successful weekend. The purpose of this meeting tonight is to get everybody on the same page so that we all know what's at stake, what the rules are, what the policies are, and everything. So we're just going to go through this little PowerPoint presentation. The three facilities that we are using: Niagara University, which is called the Dwyer Arena, 5795 Lewiston Road, the Northtown Center, 1650 Amherst Manor Drive, and then the Cornerstone Arena, 1 Greg Lewis Way in Lockport. Okay. At each facility, as Joe Baudo said, that we will have a tournament office at each facility. At the Northtown Center, it's the Skybox B. At the Cornerstone, it's the Greg Lewis Suite, which is up on the second floor. At the Dwyer Arena, it's called the Talons Room, which is also on the second floor behind the main rink. That's where the head coaches and assistant coaches would need to go. When we get later on, we'll explain what they need to do. But that's where our offices are. We are staffed at every facility with New York State Amateur Hockey Association officials. We have everyone's working that we can. If we have to have any hearings, they will be there to conduct the hearings as well. I don't see anybody on for medical.
Hey, Mark, I just got here.
Was that Chris?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Chris, let me go back your slide and you could start with your thing and tell me when you want me to move.
All right. Yeah. So good luck to everybody this weekend. Just so you guys know, there will be an athletic trainer at each pad of ice at each rink. So if you guys are at the Northtown Center or Dwyer over at Cornerstone, there'll be an athletic trainer there. Throughout the tournament, the athletic trainers do have access to the UB orthopedic office in Niagara Falls, as well as the Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center emergency room if needed. The USA Hockey concussion policy and tournament protocol will be enforced. So in order for a player to return after sustaining a concussion, they must have the USA Hockey return to play form fully completed and return to the tournament office in order for that player to return to the ice. Please, if there is an injury that occurs, we are asking the coaches to inform the team parents that not to call 911. The athletic trainers will be on site, and they will be on walkie-talkies with the rest of the tournament office to go ahead and activate EMS. We do not need a parent or somebody else calling 911 and potentially tying up the emergency lines. So please make sure that you let the athletic trainers go ahead and make that decision if 911 needs to be called. Finally, AEDs will be at site for each facility, so there will be access to a defibrillator there as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it into the chat. Best of luck this weekend.
Okay, thank you, Chris. The little couple of housekeepings. Home team, away team. I know I was questioned today about on the game sheets application, which team is the home team. I believe it's the bottom one is the home team. They wear light colored jerseys. The away team wears dark colored jerseys. We will have an ice cut before every game and after the second period, except for the Tier 1 boys, 18U. The Tier 1 boys, 18U, will play 3 20-minute periods, ice cut after every period. We do want to remind everybody that Sunday the 13th is daylight savings time, so you'll have to set your clocks ahead. Okay, hopefully we won't have anybody coming late or so. The game times for the tournament: 14Us play 16 minutes, 16Us play 17, 18 Tier 2 and Tier 3 play 17, and the 18U Tier 1s play, of course, like I said, 3 20-minute periods. Penalties for all levels for what this weekend is 2, 5, and 10. They are not modified for anything less. 5-minute warm-up will be put on the clock. 2-minute rest period between the first and second period. It'll be also go on the clock. 12-minute ice flood between the second and third, as well as for the Tier 1 18s. It'll also go on the clock. If we do have overtime, it'll be a 2 minutes rest period also onto the clock. Round robin games, we utilize 1 5-minute sudden death overtime. And then if we are still tied after the 5 minutes, we then go to a shootout to determine a winner. All of our round robin games are played to completion. The shootout procedure, we have the shootout procedure. I'm pretty sure we can go through it one by one if anybody needs to, but obviously it's pretty much standard. It is actually in the National Guide if anybody wants to read it. The shootout procedure: the goaltender defends. When we do it, the goaltender will defend the net that he defended in the third period. So after the overtime, he would go back to the third period where he defended it. 5 different players. Of course, if it's tied after the 5 different players and we go into a sudden death shootout, the sudden death shootout, you could come back with one of the first 5 players. But again, he can't shoot until 4 other players shoot again. So you can't have them shoot 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. He has to shoot alternate. You can alternate your goalies after each shot if you choose. And of course, anybody that's, I should have skipped over, anybody that's not had a penalty at the end of overtime is certainly not eligible to shoot. When we do go into the sudden death shootout, it would be again, it would go until the team is till it's decided. Okay, sudden death shootout until one decides. Okay, and again, I mentioned the 4 different players. This is also the same thing. When we get to the semifinal rounds and the championship round, The semifinals and championship round will utilize one overtime period at the length of what the third period was. Obviously, 16 minutes, 17 minutes, or the 20 minutes. We would play one full period of that. If at the end of that, we would then go to the shootout. At the 18U, there would be an ice cut prior to the sudden death overtime period. So we would cut the ice after the third period for the overtime. Okay. Scoring during the round robin, we use the 3-point system. Obviously 3 points for a win, 2 points for a win in overtime or a shootout, 1 point for a loss in overtime or a shootout, and 0 points for a loss in regulation. Okay, the tiebreakers, they will be located outside of those offices that we talked about before. The other thing is that when you come in and ask about the tiebreakers, we don't do hockey math, because we don't want to tell you that you have to win by a certain amount of goals, because if we're wrong or you're wrong or something happens. So don't ask us about the math. The rule is posted out there. It's also in the National Guide if you want to get it off the National Guide. If you want to come in and take a copy of it, I'll certainly be able to make a copy for you. This year we are using again the Game Sheets application. I think most people are starting to get familiar with the Game Sheets, which are the iPad scorings. All your rosters have been inputted. I believe there are a few teams that when they do the USA Hockey roster, they did not indicate some uniform numbers on players. So on the first day, on your first game, if you get to the arena and go up to sign the iPad, you might have to enter your players' jersey numbers. I tried to get as many as I could off of different sources, websites, or stuff like that, but there still are a couple of them that are missing. Every coach has to sign in. Doesn't matter what order they sign in. The head coach would name the starting goalie, verify the rosters prior to signing. Be sure if you want, you can certainly select your captain and alternate captain, and you're only allowed 4 coaches on the bench. If a coach isn't going to be there and you have more on your USA Hockey roster, then you would mark them away. Trainers as well as managers are not allowed on the bench. Okay. The players do not have to sign in. The red coats actually keep the scoring for us. Don't ask them any questions. If you have questions, seek out a tournament official. Okay. You can ask the red coats to contact the tournament official via radio, because they have communications with us, and then we could come down to the rink and answer your questions. We will supply practice pucks at the 2 different arenas at Cornerstone. Cornerstone also supplies their own pucks as well for us. So there are pucks there. After the championship game, there'll be no on-ice presentation. When I mean that, no on-ice personal presentation. We'll come out, we'll call the captain over. You can line up on the blue line, of course. We'll call the captain over. We'll give him the championship trophy, and we'll give the coaches the medals, the championship hats, and the championship patches, and the banner, and then they'll present it. We're not going to call each individual player over for the thing. We don't want any spectators also on the ice for that. If after your team does win and they want to skate around and go up closest to the boards where the parents are and pose for pictures, that's no problem. We just don't want parents on the ice. Next question we always have, if anybody knows of any player or team that may be using a legal player. I know this is a very sticky situation, because you might not know right now. You might not know until the game or till the game's over. But we ask if anybody has anything now. Now's the time to bring it up. You can raise your hand in the chat. I know Eric is monitoring the chat all the time. And if there's any questions, now's the time to challenge a player, and it'll give us a little bit of time to look into it. If you don't know of anybody right now, come seek us during the game if that's what the problem is. Hearings or game misconducts hearings. Obviously, the hearings are conducted by our discipline committee. There is no hearing for a 4 penalty and 12 penalty per game for the player or the coach. And we would certainly, if there was a match penalty that warranted a hearing, we would hold it prior to their next game. We will try to get the referee. Sometimes the referees are doing back-to-back games. So if it's the first game of a doubleheader for them, so to speak, if they're reffing one, lining one, we might have to wait till he gets off the ice to get his report. Between games, there's usually 15 or so minutes between game times. So they might not always have the time to write up a match report. So we'll give him the time after the second game that he's reffing to do it. Depending on the location, like I said, we would convene in one of those rooms, the gold room we do the gold room at the Northtown Center, and John Ransom's up at Dwyer with Kirk, and Gary and Joe Ippolito are at Cornerstone. They'll certainly find a place that will accommodate the people that are there. Usually it's the player, the coach. If it's an underage player, which they all are, maybe a parent, and the officials and us. Okay. After the semifinal games, when the semifinal games are over, we ask that you hang around, go to the tournament office where it is, so we could flip for the home team. We don't want to wait till the hour before the game to flip, because we need to make sure we get our locker room assignments on the right rinks and on the right who's the home and who's the away on the thing. And we're looking to try to get them as soon as possible after the game. So all of the semifinal games are being played approximately simultaneously. One is, if one's at 8, the other one's at 8:15 because of the Zamboni cuts. So usually you might have to wait a few seconds afterwards. Seek out the tournament office, go up to the tournament office. They'll flip the coin. Usually the team that travels the furthest is the one that'll call the coin toss. Okay. Both teams bring your tournament book prior to the last game. So when you sign in on that iPad for the championship game, please make sure you bring your book. Okay. We don't know if we do get an at-large position at tier 1s or tier 2s. Sometimes we don't know that. So we would like to have both books. So if we do, we already will have them. If we don't need it and we don't get any at-large positions, we'll be more than happy to send that book back to you in the mail the next day or two or whatnot. Okay. At this time, I don't know, Mike, are you going to speak on the referee behalf? I don't know if Gary is actually on. I don't see.
Gary is not on. He was not able to get in.
Okay.
Cutler is not on. He cannot get in.
Okay. So do you want me to go through the referee thing? What do you do?
I'll do it. If you want me to do it now, you can flip the pages.
Yes, Michael.
Well, everyone, welcome to 2022 state championships. Always a fun weekend. Congratulations to all of you who have made it this far. We're bringing in a whole bunch of officials from around the state. So you may or may not see your favorite home official. We'll have to wait and see. Though all games this weekend will be 4 officials, 2 referees, 2 linesmen. So I know it's been a rough year around some parts of the state getting officials, but that's not going to be the case this weekend. There will be 4 officials on each game, 14U right through to 18U. If you haven't had 4 officials in your games, get used to it, but I can assure you they're not there to keep blowing the whistle and blowing the whistle. So they want to let people play. They want to let your players play, so please keep that in mind. One of the most important things with these tournaments, or really any games, is the relationship between you as coaches and us as officials. So when the officials come over to your bench before the game and introduce themselves, please make sure you get their first names, and that's what you'll call them throughout the game. Don't add anything else. Don't come up with funny things. We tell them that if they need to come to the bench, they're going to call you by your first name. That makes it a little more personal, and it really eases a lot of things that may get off kilter. So anyway, Mark, what else did you want me to go over as far as, well, one of the other important things to start the game, nobody is allowed to be on the bench during the pregame ice cut. Please keep your team in the locker room. Your team will be summoned onto the ice by an official, probably one of the referees, could even be a linesman. Please don't go on the ice until you tell your players, don't go on the ice until they are waved to come on. Please do that. Mark, what else you want me to go over?
Check the score sheets at the end of the game.
Yes, please check the score sheets at the end of the game. The officials will. The red coats are great. Just got to make sure that everybody is accounted for and all the penalties are right, and obviously the score is correct. Okay, as far as goaltenders' masks, the only one on the screen you are looking at that is legal is the one all the way on the left side. The one in the middle and the one on the right, the cat eyes, no good. No good. If the officials see that one of your goaltenders is wearing that and playing in the game, that mask, the goaltender will be asked to get another mask if they want to continue. That's very important. The cat eye is not considered very safe, and that's part of the reason why this is happening this way. Mark, what else you got?
The next slide.
One timeouts, one per game. That's it. It could be in overtime if you go to overtime. If you're going to call timeout, you must do it before the completion of a line change. Or in other words, if the teams are ready to line up for a face-off, you can't all of a sudden decide, hey, wait, I want to call a timeout. You're not going to be granted the timeout. So if you want one, take one right away. If the whistle blows and you think you want one, take one at that point, because the officials are taught to get the games moving, line it up, and once that happens, you cannot call a timeout at that point. Go ahead, Mark. Any tape that you want to put on your body, jewelry, whatever it might be, it must be taped under the uniform. I haven't said, no tape over the ears, anything like that. The officials are not going to go on a scavenger hunt looking for this stuff. Tell it the way it is, because that's the way I've always done it. But the rule is, if you're going to wear jewelry, you need to tape it, but the tape cannot be over the outside of the uniform. It must be under the uniform. And this way, no one's going to even know about it but your player and maybe you as their coach. Go ahead, Mark.
This one you already talked about, Mike, the four-man system.
Yeah, and just so you know, the reason why we've gone to four official system at 14U, because that level, the level of play at 14U has gotten so much better over the years, and we can't ask one referee to go up and down the ice because the puck travels way faster than my officials can skate. And that's not saying they can't do the job, but four officials is the way to go, and that will get you the best game. You might not think so, but I certainly believe so. After the game, if they want to shake hands, there really is no shaking hands. It's called fist bumping. So that is allowed to happen if you want. Totally up to you, unless, Mark, you say it's mandatory. I don't, you say no? Nope. Okay, so if you do have a shaking hands routine, It's now called fist bumping routine. So everybody, please be aware of that. If the officials see handshakes starting to happen, they'll stop it and say, no fist bumps with your gloves on. Next slide, Mark. Anything left?
That is it, Michael.
All right, so if my plane takes off tomorrow, I shall be there. And I can happily say I'd rather be watching good hockey than doing tax returns this weekend. So I got to get out of here.
So Mike, one question. We do have a question from somebody. They asked about the mouth guard rule. Would you just care to elaborate on that?
Each player needs to have a mouth guard. Please have the player keep the mouth guard in their mouth and not dangling. That's not safe, but that's really what the rule is there. Mouth guard's mandatory. Just keep them in the mouth. And it also keeps them from yelling at the officials, but that's another story. So
Okay.
that's
And also,
pretty clear.
Also, the same question was our coaches okay to go on the bench while the Zamboni is on the ice?
I believe the coaches are allowed to be on the bench, but the players are not allowed to go out until the Zamboni is off the ice. And technically, the nets are in place with the posts.
Okay. And last question is on your shirt, which one of those are you?
I'm the cute one on all the way over here. If you're looking at me, I'm the one on the left.
Okay.
But because I was one of the referees at this time, so. And this guy over here is my cousin, so hey, we keep it in the family.
Thank you, Mike. I guess at this time, we want to either open it up for questions, comments. If anybody has any questions, you could certainly put them in the chat or raise your hand, and Eric will certainly go through them all. I don't really see too many questions coming out. Obviously, I think a lot of these coaches as well as teams have been there before and kind of know what's going on. But we just want to give everybody an opportunity to ask their questions, whatever they need at this point.
The webinar will be uploaded to the NYSAHA YouTube channel tomorrow.
Okay. So anybody that wants to review it is more than welcome to go back and review it. Anybody else have any comments on the thing? Joe, do you have anything closing remarks or something?
Oh, just good luck in what you're doing, and let's have a good weekend.
Okay, so being that there's no other further questions. Oh, wait, hold on. The team on the top was considered the home team.
No, home team is on the bottom, I believe.
Home team is on the bottom, I believe. Let me pull it up really quick on my other computer, and I can certainly answer that question.
I believe on the iPad, it's the bottom one. That's the home team.
Yes.
Bottom one, that's the home team. They're on the bottom. The home team is on the bottom. You're welcome, Bill. I think you emailed me that too, and I don't know if I responded to you. I got a little busy this afternoon, so I apologize. Okay, so if no other questions, we thank you very much for your time and good luck. We'll see you up there, and everybody's travel safe.